Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hunting for Silver Linings. Today is Friday, May 28 here in the Great Lakes region of the United States, where I, Corey Hart, am the chapter director for Grand Rapids for Startup Grind. I'm joined by my colleague. We have Yorgo Katsanos over here. He's also in Michigan today. Yesterday he was in Ohio, and last week, I don't know, he was someplace else. But he's got a lot of miles under his belt. And then today we're really excited to be continuing our tour around the globe and getting some context into what's going on in our ecosystems around the planet with Kelvin from Helsinki. Thank you so much for the generosity of your time. Really appreciate you being with us.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here because this kind of stuff is what we do for the community. And now I'm at the other side of the table where I'm being asked the questions, and it's like the fireside chat that we always have with speakers. But thanks for the opportunity to be here. I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's been kind of we've been so busy pre-pandemic helping our entrepreneurs in each one of our communities. It never really occurred to anyone to mine the value that's in the brains of our directors, right? I don't know, but since the pandemic, Yorgo and I have had almost 200 of these conversations, and it's just incredible the amount of information we've been able to glean from our directors and the connections that we're able to make between these communities with regard to investment, innovation, et cetera. So I'm really excited to learn about what we got going on in Helsinki. But first, tell us a bit about your background, because you're a very, very busy person.
Yeah, well, these days has been pretty much hectic with a lot of work just because of the project that we are managing. But yeah, about myself, I'm originally from Nigeria, where I studied, and my background is in software engineering actually. And I had my first startup in Nigeria. It was around digital marketing before I left Nigeria. So first I went to Ghana, where I was working as the head of marketing for ISEC in Ghana. I was working on the national team. It was a year contract. Then after that, I moved to Finland. That's three years ago. So I was on the national team for ISEC in Finland, where I worked as the head of digital B2C marketing. It was also a one-year contract, which after it ended, I started my second business here in Finland with a colleague of mine who we worked together in ISEC. So we started a tech marketing platform, which started as an experiment when I was working back in ISEC because I was the head of marketing, right? And I needed to get customers and growth and sign-ups and all of that. And we use social media a lot, but Instagram was not giving us the result that we desired. My colleague he has some experience in Instagram, and I have experience in marketing. We're like, what can we do? So we quickly made a prototype of a platform that actively helped us generate like very targeted followers on Instagram, which we can actually convert to paying customers. It worked pretty well. And we're like, well, if this worked for our account in ISEC, maybe there are some other brands that we need it. So we did a quick test across, it was 10 accounts over 7 countries with our network. So we're managing all these brands just to see like the result of the platform with the account. We got 5x more than what we planned to achieve, which was so fascinating that we thought to ourselves, damn, there could be something here, How, because we didn't know, we're like, yeah, let's just do it for our organization, get some results, do it for a couple of brands, get a bit of result, but we got more than expected. At that point in time, we thought that, okay, maybe there's something more to this game. Let's try to make a business out of it, We had some early adopters, test users and all of that. We even had early stage like investors who started talking with us, even when we have not registered the business, we've not had a proper business plan, but we just go to events, we talk to people, we met some investors, we just shared our progress, what we've done with the platform and all of that. And they were like, yeah, I want to put my money there. I like it. It's good. I want to join your team, I remember one meeting we went for, we went for a business advice, which turned out to become an investor meeting because we went to get an advice from our business advisor. about how to, because it's our first time in Finland. I was less than a year old back then, and I didn't understand the whole system, the startup scene, the legality, the structure, and all of that. So we're always going for these business advices just to really understand what it means to build a company in Finland. And one of those business advices, we are talking to the business advisor, explaining what we've done, how we want to scale the business, and all of that. He turned out becoming an investor because he fell in love with our product, he fell in love with our team, and he said that he wanted to join the ride. Mind you, this was like even before we registered the business and did any like tangible stuff, but we had traction, which was the most important thing. So at that point in time, we're like, well, we have paying users who are paying for the platform to be sustained, and we have some investors on the side who are willing to put their money. We just had one thing to to do: go and register the company and build it up from there. Because all the signs were there, the growth and all of that. So we registered. It was in August 2019, and we started, doing a lot of growth and sales. We got like some clients from UK, from US, from Sweden, from Italy, and from Finland. For us, it's been quite an interesting journey, because when you start a company here in Finland, most people tend to go for the Finnish clients first, or Finnish users, because it's like the low hanging fruit. You can easily like reach them. But for us, from day one, we already had international clients, which boosted our growth for the past 1.5 years. So it's been very, very interesting journey. But yeah, that's a bit about myself. On the side, I also manage Startup Grind in Helsinki. I'm the director. So it's a way of me giving back to the community, engaging with the startups and the entrepreneurs, and also helping people connect to each other. So we organize this monthly fireside chat. We try to bring investors, some CEOs and founders that do some cool stuff. This month actually, we had the CEO of Calculate and their head of growth. It's a Finnish company that raised 1.5 million. They expanded from Finland to the US, to France, and they grew their team from 3 to 30, all in less than 2 years. So it was a very interesting story that I had to bring them on board to come and share, so our audience can learn. In the past, we also bring like some investors who share about how angel investing works, how startups can get access to investors and some capitals, and all of these crazy stories that inspires our community and give them the nudge that they need to move on to the next stage. Yeah, I hope I didn't talk too much about myself.
It's important that we understand who you are, right? Because that also helps us understand why you are and what drives you. A lot of us that are directors, we're driven to give and help others. You have a really great story because you're on both sides of the coin, like you mentioned. You in addition to being an immigrant to Helsinki, into Finland, and that journey itself can be somewhat difficult. Before we get into asking some questions about the ecosystem specifically, you already mentioned some like one company. Do you have some stories, some anecdotes from your community or Helsinki or Finland? Some shining examples of what's been happening this last year and a half through the crisis?
Yeah, actually, Finland has been like, the stories here are very fascinating, even though we are very small in terms of the like the numbers. But if you look at the impact and the growth of startups here, it's really fascinating to see. So we have some interesting startups that are popping up within this past year, even during the COVID and before. Like I mentioned, Calculate. They are doing like really good. It's a financial reporting tool that helps startups and scale up to analyze and forecast their finances, both from their the monthly recurring revenue, the annual recurring revenue, their accounting, adding their accounting system to it, planning for their lifetime value of the customers, the cost per acquisition of their customers. It's like a one financial dashboard that gives you overview of all of your analytics in terms of like finances, because finance is a bit of a gray area for a lot of startup founders. Founders are typically tech-wise. They are techy. They know how to build a platform, and maybe they can sell. But most of them don't have this finance background. So having like a startup that is dedicated to all this financial literacy stuff is really cool. So Calculate is really like really amazing job. Imagine if you can have your accounting system, your reporting system, your revenue, your paycheck, your payroll, all of those different tools that you use being integrated into one platform that can help you, show a very nice chart on what you've done, the metrics you should expect in the coming months and coming years, and help you do like a proper forecast. They've they've been around just a couple of years, and they've been able to do like really cool stuff. One other example of a good startup that came from Finland was Rens. Rens is a sneakers made out of coffee. We actually had their CEO as a speaker. It was sometime last year where he was sharing. He's also an immigrant. He's from I think he's from Vietnam, I guess. So he came to Finland. He studied here, and he started his first business, which didn't go so well. So he decided to start another one, which is making sneakers. And if you know Finland, you will know that here Finns, they consume a lot of coffee. Like coffee, oh my God, you don't play with it. At work, at home, like 3 cups, 5 cups, 10 cups a day, literally. So this guy turned the waste from coffee into what he used to produce his sneakers. It's mind blowing, So it's more or less him using the materials and things that are in this environment to build up his company. And they raised some funding. Now they are doing really good.
That's really great. It's amazing for those who don't understand. Like there's a lot of waste in producing coffee. Like out of the fruit.
Yeah.
I appreciate you giving some examples there, and because of time, I'm gonna jump forward a little bit. Interested in understanding some of the sectors, the biggest, hottest sectors in your area. Finland has got a pretty distributed wealth of companies in all different sectors, whether it's media, health, education, manufacturing. So what's on fire? What are you like paying attention to in your area?
I think there's one thing that Finland is really, really known for across like the border. It's education. So the ed tech in the industry is such that I see it as the next big thing because the education system here is one of the best in the world. So what startups are trying to do now is to use tech to power up education in this part of the world, which is like really beautiful. One of there's another like a startup that was doing something in edtech, whiteboard.p. Literally the name of the company, whiteboard.p. They came during the pandemic. So how can people like teachers or people still learn and teach virtually, but with a whiteboard kind of an environment? That's how they created the company. And it was less than a year of them creating this company. They got acquired by Kahoot. I don't know for how many millions, but it's pretty decent amount of money. And this company, they started, grew to, I don't know, 1 million+ users, and they got acquired, I think, in a span of 6 months. It's fascinating. I'm bringing the guy on stage in September. He's coming to share the story with our community. It's fascinating. So if you talk about the industry that is booming up so far, I think EdTech is like one of the biggest strengths of Finland. So doing anything around that, it's something that the society they support a lot. So even the investors and all of that. So EdTech, and if it involves B2B somehow, it even drives like investors crazy. So that sector is something that you can actually keep your eye on.
And before I move from sectors, Yorgo, I don't know if do you have any particular like interest or questions for.
Well, the sectors are very interesting, and I also like the fact that Kelvin started with education. We have noticed that formal and informal training has been the anchor, has been the coral on which software applications have been built, where you have good foundations, either corporate teaching, coaching, education courses, or university courses. You have a trickle down effect to the rest of the community. And I think this is something that has distinguished Finland for many, many decades. Um, in terms of inward outward applications, you mentioned that many of the Finnish software developers are looking at the low hanging fruit, and that you were unique in terms of looking at overseas applications.
Mhm.
Is this a sector in its own right, i.e., creating applications and collaborating with foreign partners?
Hmm. If I get the question correctly, you were asking about, getting, can you repeat just the question itself? I got the story and the explanation, but the question, can you repeat, please?
Yeah, the question is, can you build a business? Do you have the infrastructure available to you in Finland to
Okay,
create a global business?
got that, got that. So, like, short answer is yes, 100% yes. When it comes to the infrastructure, the tech, the like the resources, the finances, they are all in place, like totally. And there are a lot of companies who have made use of all of these tools to grow and scale like properly. So if it comes to those parts, it's readily available. But if I should give a bit of a hint, one of the things that is still lacking in Finland in terms of tech is the talent, tech talent. So if you look at the resources and the infrastructure, they are readily available, and the Finnish government is so supportive in terms of providing grants and finances and support and business advices to startups free of charge. But when it comes to the hard skills, these deep tech skills, most of them is something that is lacking in Finland. So you have like a lot of foreign tech talents here in Finland. I think majority of the tech talents in Finland are foreigners. So and it's still like there's still a bit of a gap to be closed there. So most times you find Finnish companies or tech companies that are being co-founded by some foreign CTOs who either they've moved to Finland or they are still abroad. If even like calculate that I mentioned to you, like the CEO, he's Finn, but the CTO, I think he lives in Paris, if I'm right. So most times you see they have like very great initiative and all of that, but of course, if you look within, there's less supply of tech talent. So most times they have to look outside to try to attract some of these talents. And now, like even the government and the cities are, trying to implement some nice programs that will be attractive for tech talents to move over to Finland.
Okay, that's it's really great that you bring that up, because an exercise we like to do is we like to hypothetically ask. So let's take for example that Yorgo and we are very young entrepreneurs in Finland, in Helsinki. We've got a really great idea, and is it popular that so that you said there's a skills gap, but there, like education, like it's world renowned top education. So do we have to, is it really important to get plugged into an accelerator or an incubator, or to have some extra support, or are we going to have some skills coming out of university, as young founders with a good idea?
That's actually a very good question, because when you look at startups, and let's say as two founders starting your own company, there are a lot of programs that makes it very easy for you to get integrated, for you to learn, for you to get exposed to mentors, investors, business advisors, and all of that. I'll use ourselves for example. Myself and my co-founder, we recently started like a new project, and one of the first things that we did was to take part in an accelerator program. It's called Cubera. It's one of the leading accelerator programs in Finland, and I think also in the Nordics. So there are a lot of accelerator programs, and one of the things that they will help you do, especially if you're a foreigner, is to quickly understand the market, the system, the structure, what you need to do next. Because for us as foreigners, when we came to Finland, like I told you, I knew zero about the ecosystem, the structure, the legalities, the accounting system, taxes, all of those things were like gray area for me. But with the help of some agencies like Yorgo, Helsinki, Business Finland, Maria 01, we got exposed to a lot of materials, a lot of resources, a lot of mentors and business advices, which helped us fill the gap that could have taken years for us to get to. But in a matter of months, we were able to start a business that, we got international clients and started making like good money. So,
And
yeah.
is it fairly easy to plug into some state public resources as well? I mean, I saw that Finland has quite a bit of public ministry level support for entrepreneurism. Is it like, do we have to choose? Either we go like for the public resources, or we go for the accelerators. What's that like?
Yeah, but you don't necessarily have to choose because they are not competing with each other. Because most times you go to accelerator to get some sort of resources that you might not get from the public resources from the government. So most times just utilize both. Grab as much as you can. I thought you were going to ask if you want to go for the government public resources, or do you want to go for, let's say, private funding and resources already. So my answer would be start with the government public resources that are available first, because they are very, very, of course, you need to know where to look if you want to find them. For example, if you start your startup here, one of the first things you should look out for is the public funding, because those does not come with any equity stake for you losing a lot of shares in the company and all of that. Those are public funds made available by the government to help you bootstrap your company to the point where you are ready to bring in investors. So instead of at the beginning stage going for some maybe angels that will take some big amounts of your company for some amount of money, you make use of the public funds that will help you bootstrap, get to market, get your product market fit. Then when you're ready to scale, you can invite all the investors on board. So in terms of the accelerator and the systems, they all work hand in hand. But of course, there are a lot of information and resources out there. You just have to know where to look, and you have to know what you are looking for.
And well, luckily, we have you as the chapter director of Startup Grind to help us. So I think Yorgo has a quick question.
Yeah.
The first question that I have, Kelvin, is this: what kind of funds, what size of funds are you talking about? Is it 5,000 euros? Is it 10,000 euros? Is it 100,000 euros?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can check out businessfinland.p. So they have a series of funds depending on the stage of the company. So there's this, it's called Market Exploration Fund. I think it's up to 10 to 30K. And there's the Innovation Voucher. It's up to 5K euro. Then there's the one we call the Tempo funding. It's up to you have to have access to 30K fund in your business account, and you'll be given 50K. So it's up to 80K fund, and all of these are equity free. So it's basically the government supporting you with the fund to go to the market, build what you need to build, take it to the market, validate it as fast as possible. But the tempo is more or less, you have a product, you have some clients in Finland, and you want to go international. So it's called the Fund for Internationalization. So with that, they give you, in general, it's like up to 80,000 euro, which you can play around with, take your product out of Finland, go to other countries, acquire more users and all of that. Then after that, there's other funds like up to even 300K funds from the government. At some point, they are even able to give you loan, direct loan that does not come with any interest rates. But all of this has to do with the stage of your business, how much money you have, and how much growth that you have. You know, I remember talking with the CEO of Calculate. It was sometime last year when he got the second, I think it was the third phase of the funding from Business Finland. It was around 300K euro. So it can start from as low as 5,000 euro, which is an innovation voucher that the government would give you, up to 300 to 500K. So these are publicly available funds that you can use to, build your products, take it international, scale it, get to MVP or get to product market fit, and be able to scale.
Thank you, Kelvin. This is very interesting because your example suggests that the Finnish government has adopted the entire curve from angel investment, early stage investment, all the way to growth seed capital, which is very unusual. We have not seen that in any other jurisdiction or any other chapter director with whom we've spoken to. Essentially, that the government is playing the role of supporting innovation across the early stages. That is very, very interesting.
Yes. As an early stage startup here, you don't even necessarily need early stage investors because there are publicly available funds for you to play around with, bring your product to market, get a product market fit, get paying users. When you want to scale, then you can invite investors. So the government played it really well because they help you save your equity for when it's really necessary to give it out. Of course, most companies, they invite investors as early as, pre-seed or even before when they are in ideation stage. And there are a lot of VCs in this country that, they fund even just ideas or even a bit of traction, like even Lifeline Ventures. They recently, I saw one of the news of one of their latest fund. So you don't have, they want to get involved with founders as early as possible. So they don't even want you to grow too much for them to get involved, which is good. But on the other side, you can actively survive, build up your company to a point with the public fund. When you are sure that, you need some funding from external, then you can hit the VC. And there are quite good number of VCs here in Finland that are really supportive in terms of, the capitals and, the equity stake and involvement with the startups and supporting them.
Great.
Yep. One more question in this area. So let's assume that Corey and I set up our company in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and we decided that we want to globalize our access. We looked around Europe and we looked at the various jurisdictions, and we decided that Helsinki is the best one for us. Can we create a hub, a headquarters for our company in Helsinki, and could we have access to any of these supporting funds in the early stages of our life?
So I will talk from my own experience because for me, I was here and I was able to have access to the question you ask now is the answer to it would be yes from my own experience because I was here in Finland. I was able to get access to all of this funding, the grants, the resources, the incubation hubs, the investors and all of that. But I don't know how it works when you are not in Finland and you are trying to register a company here in Finland. That works perfectly for Estonia with their e-residency, Estonia. So with Estonia, you can be in any part of the world. You register your company in Estonia and you're able to have identity, a company address, everything. The same way a company in Estonia have access to all of those. Currently, Finland don't have that kind of system for e-residency yet, but I don't know how possible or how technical it is for someone to register a company outside of Finland because you will need your Finnish ID, the social security number and all of those things. I'm not sure you can get it if you are not living here in Finland. Just talking from my own personal experience, we had to stay here for a while, get the ID and all of those before we move on to the next phase.
Thank you, Kelvin. I was actually referring to the fact that we would come and stay in Finland. We would be located in Finland. We would bring in with us already the existing company. We just moved the headquarters away from, let's say, Grand Rapids to Helsinki.
Yes, yes. That then it's totally possible to be able to have access to all of the resources and the infrastructure that already exists here. Once your company is legally registered here in Finland and you have your social security number in Finland, you are good to go. You just have to know what do you want, who do you want, who can provide that. Just go knock on their door. And people here are so freaking nice. Everybody wants to help you to succeed. It's weird to say, but Finnish people are one of the nicest people on earth. They want to see you succeed.
Great.
They
That's
want
so welcoming.
to explain the system, the parts, like everything that you need to know, just so you succeed. So there's help everywhere. You just have to know what do you want and you know where to look for. You go there, you knock on it, and people are willing to help you.
That's awesome. So when we spoke with our chapter director in Santiago, he mentioned how the government has a really great support system for ideas even, and very quick residency. So like within 2 weeks, we could land, we could have our documents, our papers, we'll have 25,000 US dollars, we'll have a spot in an incubator to like have a desk and all that fun stuff. And then we heard that Estonia is working on an e-residency thing also. Not Estonia, but I'm sorry, Armenia. And it's really going to be fun to see how these programs develop and how different countries and governments realize that, yeah, you have to really do the funding early on, not just the mentoring. So many of us are over mentored and underfunded, right? So now Yorgo and I, we have our company, we have some team, we have some support, public and private. Now we're looking to like grow our company. You said that the tech talent is a little bit tough to find locally. So Yorgo and I are going to use our friends in Plovdiv, Bulgaria. We're going to use our friends in Venezuela for some talent. And now, what is it like to grow our businesses like marketing wise? You said that traditionally people are focused on Finland, or do we work outside of the city in small communities? What's that like traditionally?
Yeah, actually, if you have a company that is focused just on Finland, the government will not even give you funding. So they are interested in local companies, but with global scalability.
Okay.
So you're funded in Finland, your first audience is in Finland, but your business model is global. You're going to acquire users from across the border because the Finnish market is really small, that you don't want to build your product just for the Finnish market. You want to build something that people outside of Finland can consume, but you start here. So when it comes to the market, you need to put that into consideration that if you are building like a very traditional company that is not a tech-enabled startup, you might not necessarily get access to, okay, there are some other funds in different category, but I'm just talking from my experience in the tech startup world. So this funding that I'm mentioning to you, most of them are also dependent on the kind of business we are building. Most of them are tech startup enabled. So you need to build a company or a platform that is scalable globally, okay, and it has to have potentials to go abroad from year one or year two or something like that. So just have in mind that it doesn't have to be super traditional company. If not, they're not going to fund it. Like what example would I give? I don't know, taxi driving or barbing salon or some things that can't scale, some business that can't scale. Don't think about them because here they won't really push it through.
That makes sense. So you also mentioned earlier that finding access to later stage capital is not a problem. This whole mindset that you're describing that the country is all about really is a lot different than what we've ever discussed with anybody. So this is really exciting to learn. I do want to talk a little bit about the topic of equity. So Finland has, it says like 7.5% of the population are foreigners or immigrants or others. And then also, Startup Grind has a real focus. We just finished up our Women's Month this month. So can you talk a little bit about, especially with this last year and a half with the pandemic, like what kind of programs, what kind of attention is being given? What is the status of equity? Is it better or worse than it was a year and a half ago? I'll let you take it away.
Yeah. So when it comes to when there was a report, I don't have the exact number in my head, but I can send you the report after this call. So there's a report that showed how the Finnish market was able to attract a lot more investment in the past 1 year as compared to previous. So actually, I don't know how to say it, but the pandemic seems to be a good thing somehow because it helped a lot of people raise more funds. It brought more awareness and stuff like that. So in terms of equity, I would say, the like the typical, investors here, they're not they're not that greedy. They're not going to steal away your company for you for some amount of money.
I was speaking about like gender equity.
Okay, makes sense. Actually, that's a big topic now in Finland. Inclusiveness, diversity, gender equality, and all of that. We recently participated in one survey. It was I think there's a new company about all this gender equality, inclusiveness, trying to know how many female founders compared to the male. Of course, there are more of male founders, male CEOs, and all of that. But there's one thing I love about the past, like within the past 12 months that has happened. The awareness is becoming like so high that people are paying more attention to it now. In the past, it's like it's it's normal for you to have, I don't know, male founders or male CEOs. But now, like the awareness, I think there are even some specific programs that are targeting female founders. So what they are trying to do these days is one, to encourage more of female entrepreneurs or female like founders, then letting them know that there's opportunity for them and they can have access to the same opportunity as the male founders. Because here in Finland, equality is a big thing. Equality, inclusiveness, like is a big thing. So the right you're gonna get as a male founder, you're probably gonna get it if you're a female founder. But when you look at the opportunities out there and the people that are utilizing it, there are probably more of them are male. So now all of this, the campaigns and the awareness is to help people understand that there's an opportunity out there for more female founders. We actually need them to play a big role in this ecosystem. So like some companies are popping up and they are even in the hiring process these days, you see people are trying to balance the number of employees that they have because a lot of the time you see there are more male than female, but with the whole awareness, people are putting like they are subconsciously putting effort into ensuring that they close this gap. No bias. If you're a female, nobody's going to discriminate you. Nobody's going to be biased towards you. They will treat you the same way they're going to treat a male for the same role. And this is one good thing I really love about Finland. This equality, they've taken it to the whole new level. It's so different from my country where, when we talk about the equality, it is a whole new conversation. But here in Finland is a typical conversation that is okay to have in the public. And you can raise the awareness that yes, the way you should be male, the way you should be female, no matter the industry, no matter whatsoever.
That's great to hear. So I have two questions for you before I have to leave, and then I'm going to leave you with Yorgo. First question is, what is some of the more common advice you're giving the entrepreneurs in your community, people that are asking you, like, because as the mayors of our ecosystems, people ask us all the time for help. So wondering what some of the more common things that you're telling people, some advice. And the last question I have for you is, what can the global network of Startup Grind chapter directors do for Kelvin? What can we do for Helsinki?
Okay, I'll go with the first. What kind of questions or conversation I have with startups and all of that? So I'm actually like one of the mentors at the Nordic Startup School. So it's an accelerator program. They organize boot camps every, I think, 2 or 3 boot camps every year, and bring all these early stage startups to help them train them, coach them, provide them even with a bit of financing from the beginning to help them go up. And mentoring a lot of startups these days, I get these questions of how to acquire your first users and all of that. And there's always my mindset or my whole thought around startups or the kind of advice that I give them is, build fast, get to the market fast, fail fast, learn fast, either grow fast or pivot fast, because nobody's going to know what you're doing if you stay in your business developing for a year, 2 years, 3 years, only for you to come to the market and realize, oh shit, the market has changed, or damn, the market doesn't even need what I'm building. So reducing the whole time of building and increasing the time of communication with your target audience, your consumers, your clients, your users is one of the key things now, because you can iterate, pivot, and change what you're building along the line from the feedback you get from your customers. So that would be my top advice.
That's really good advice, especially this last year and a half when like customers, they've been changing so fast.
Yeah, rapidly. Like the pace, the rate of change is too crazy that if you spent last year building a product, you wake up now and be like, wow, the whole world has changed. Maybe your product is not even relevant anymore. So it's good to be out there, engage with users and have as much conversation as possible with customers, get feedback, and see how you can put that into your whole process of development. And then to your second question, oh my God, that's really a tough question. I don't know why.
I know it's tough. We're so busy giving, like we don't know how to take. But
I know, right?
You've got 700 directors wanting to give to you, so like now's your opportunity to ask.
I really don't. I don't know. That's a tough one. Damn, I just realized I thought it's gonna be easy to answer. Oh my God. Maybe I need to give it some more time. But in a nutshell, I think it will be more of a collaboration, because I see a lot of chapters and cities that are doing good, raising good funds, having like really amazing ecosystem. We want to learn from them. Like I'm so humbled to the grassroots that I'm willing to unlearn a lot of shit that I have in my head just to learn what is working out there. So, encouraging the directors to share more their success stories, how they are going around stuff. So we can also, because for me, I see myself as a learning machine. I want to go as hard as I can, learn as much as I can while I'm still young, while I can. At some point, your brain is going to be like, oh, damn, we don't want any new information. I don't want to get to that point. So now I try as much as I can to go all in. So for the directors out there, share with me what is happening in your ecosystem, the success stories, how the journey for startups and entrepreneurs are going, the key role you are playing, and how you are shaping it out there. I want to learn, what you are doing and how I can tap into your own understanding and knowledge of the market, implement it in Finland, and also help my community over here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to let Yorgo wrap it up with some last thoughts or maybe a last question. I'm going to leave you in his capable hands because I got to get on the road. Kelvin, so honored to make your acquaintance. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this opportunity, and let's keep in touch.
Thank you, Corey. Thank you very much for this. Happy travel. Kelvin, the question that I have is literally the question of blockchain. We've seen huge change over the last 10 years in blockchain technologies, and I was wondering, what is it that is happening in this area in Helsinki?
Oh, thank you. Well, honestly, I'm not an expert in the blockchain industry, but it's something that I've been following more passively than actively. But on top of my head, I can't really like think of or come up with anything in particular that I've seen happening around, specifically in Helsinki.
Are your colleagues interested in cryptocurrencies? Do you follow what is happening in the cryptocurrency world?
Yeah, personally, I do follow up, with the update, and I also trade crypto on the side. It's something that I do more like as a leisure. on the side. So I followed the update, with the current ban from China affecting the whole crash and how the whole ecosystem is going. One of the things that actually fascinates me is not the cryptocurrency itself, but is the blockchain technology. You know, the technology behind the crypto, because people get carried away with crypto, which is good. It's crypto, right? But there's more powerful that is powering this crypto, which is the whole blockchain technology. That's the part that I actually get fascinated about. But it's not my area of expertise, so I'm not like I don't have a lot of insight or knowledge to actually talk about it as an expert. So I will dedicate it to. I would actually love to participate in, I don't know, some sessions or trainings where I can learn more about this area.
Thank you. The reason I ask you is because we're beginning to see a lot of interest in applications of blockchain. In other words, the blockchain platform is being used not only for payment systems, not only for digital and non-fungible tokens and so on and so forth, but for a whole range of applications. And at least here in North America, we see that the application opportunity of blockchain is going to expand over time, and will move beyond cryptocurrencies and so on to involve other solutions. Thank you, thank you. One of the questions we also ask our directors, as far as staff and grind is concerned, is obviously we bring different kinds of expertise to the system, from coaching, training, hands-on advisory services, and so on and so forth. What can we find in Finland? What if I need, for instance, a help for software development? Do I come to you? Is it expensive to hire Finnish software developers? What areas do you think Finland has a competitive advantage in from your ecosystem, from your startup grind ecosystem?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So like I mentioned like earlier on, tech talents here are actually very expensive. Of course, I think maybe due to the fact that they are scarce in a way that there's a lot of demand for it, but the supply is not as much as the demand. So which makes it very competitive in terms of the salary, the benefits, and all of those stuff. So it's not something that Finland is exporting for sure. Tech talent is not a strong point for Finland. Instead, they try to import, bring a lot of tech talent to Finland and help them to integrate and be part of the system. But one of the things I think I mentioned this earlier on, one of the key strengths that Finland has is the ed tech community or the ed tech industry, and this comes from the perspective that Finnish education system is one of the best in the world. So now what startups and entrepreneurs are trying to do is to see how they can use technology to power this education in a way that it becomes more accessible. Even I see a lot of startups that they build the whole system and the platform in Finland, and they export it to Asia, to Africa, to the US. So in that sense, this is something that Finland is like really good in, and this is where they export a lot of these kind of tools. But when it comes to talent, yeah, there's still a bit of a gap in terms of what is needed and what is available. But they are working really hard in terms of the system and helping people to, I don't know, get availability of opportunities and stuff like that. It's just that here also in Finland, it's tough to, because of the language barrier and maybe the trust and all of that. You will require to somehow get integrated into Finland before you can actually be able to have all of these opportunities out there for you. But there are also a few exception of some talent that were able to move to Finland, maybe from some programs or some international programs like that. But in a nutshell, talent there's a huge gap there. I think companies that are doing talent matching, like headhunting, they're actually making good money here in Finland. it's a good industry to go into because everybody's hiring. Everybody's looking for tech talent, looking for talent to fill a particular role. But the talent is not the the supply of this talent does not match the demand. That's why the headhunters make a lot of money, matching talent to specific roles and all of that. And yeah, that's what I can say about that.
Thank you. Thank you. I really want to thank you for your time today. It was a very interesting interview. You opened definitely new perspectives for us. For instance, I never knew that the Finnish government has been so actively supporting startups and incubators and innovators. That is a wonderful, wonderful strategy. As Corey said, we'll be here for you if you need us, when you need us, and we look forward to our next conversation. Please stay on after I stop recording.
Nice. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. And feel free to hit me up if you have more questions or if you need to insight about the ecosystem or if there's anything in particular that I can help you with. In Startup Grind, we are a family. So if you need anything, just hit me up and I will try as much as I can to be of assistance.
Thank you, Kelvin. Have a wonderful afternoon. Evening,
All right.
actually. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the day. Yeah. Bye bye.